In the heart of Mexico, nestled within a fog-draped valley, lies the city of Guanajuato, a place of vibrant colors and colonial charm by day, but by night, it holds a chilling secret, a story etched not in stone, but in human flesh. This is the tale of the Guanajuato mummies, a horrifying chapter of history that continues to haunt the present. Our story begins in the 1830s. Guanajuato, a bustling silver mining city, was struck by a devastating cholera outbreak. The epidemic swept through the population, leaving a trail of death and sorrow. The city's main cemetery, the Panteon de Santa Paula, quickly filled with the deceased, buried in haste to prevent the spread of disease. For decades, they rested in peace. But that peace was about to be shattered. In 1865, the city council, facing financial strain, enacted a bizarre and controversial law, a perpetual grave tax. Families were required to pay a fee to keep their loved ones buried. For many, still reeling from poverty and loss, this was an impossible demand. The consequence of non-payment was unthinkable: exhumation. The bodies of their relatives would be dug up to make room for paying customers. And so, the grim work began. Cemetery workers started the arduous task of disinterring the graves of those whose families couldn't afford the tax. They expected to find only skeletons. But what they found instead would become the stuff of legend and nightmare. One of the first bodies they unearthed was that of Dr. Remigio Leroy, a French doctor who had died in Guanajuato. As they pulled his coffin from the earth, they were met with a sight that defied belief. Dr. Leroy's body was not a skeleton. It was perfectly, unnervingly preserved. His skin was leathery and taut, his clothes were intact, and his face was frozen in a silent, horrifying scream. The workers were stunned. As they continued their work, they found more. Dozens, then over 100 bodies, all naturally mummified, all pulled from their eternal rest. Each one seemed to be caught in a moment of ultimate terror, their mouths agape, their hands clenched, their bodies contorted. News of the discovery spread like wildfire, and with it, a terrifying question: why were they all screaming? The local folklore provided a chilling answer. Whispers turned into terrified convictions that these people had been buried alive. Perhaps during the chaos of the cholera epidemic, victims were mistakenly pronounced dead while still in a catatonic state. The screams were their last, desperate cries for help from 6 feet under, their final moments spent in a dark, suffocating coffin. It's a thought so horrifying it's hard to dismiss, an image that sears itself into the mind. Imagine the terror, the slow realization of being trapped, the futile struggle against the wooden walls of your own tomb. This narrative took hold of the public imagination, transforming the mummies from a scientific curiosity into a gallery of tragic souls. Science, however, offers a less supernatural, though no less fascinating, explanation. The unique conditions of the soil and climate in Guanajuato are believed to be the cause. The region's mineral-rich, dry soil, combined with the hot, arid climate, acted as a natural dehydrator. The bodies lost water so rapidly that the process of decomposition was halted almost immediately. This created the mummified remains we see today. But what about the screams? Scientists explain this as a natural post-mortem process. As the body dehydrates, the jaw muscles contract and pull the jaw open. The skin on the face tightens and recedes, pulling the lips back and exposing the teeth and gums. The body contorts as tissues and ligaments shrink. So, the horrifying expressions aren't evidence of a final, conscious scream, but rather a grotesque trick of dehydration. It's a macabre puppet show, with the laws of physics pulling the strings. Still, standing before them, it's hard to reconcile the scientific facts with the raw, emotional power of what you see. Take the mummy of Ignacia Aguilar. Legend says she suffered from a heart condition that made her heart appear to stop for periods of time. During one such episode, she was declared dead and buried. Her family later found her body disinterred, her hands bitten and her forehead covered in scratches, suggesting she had woken up inside her coffin. The scientific explanation is that her body was simply positioned that way and the effects of dehydration caused the contortions. But which story do you believe when you're staring into her empty eye sockets? As more mummies were exhumed, they were stored in a charnel house beneath the cemetery. The sight was so macabre and fascinating that cemetery workers began charging a few pesos for a peek. This morbid curiosity soon turned into a full-blown tourist attraction. By the late 19th century, the informal viewings were formalized, and the Museo de las Momias, the Museum of the Mummies, was born. What started as a collection of exhumed bodies in a bone house became one of Mexico's most famous and unsettling museums. The mummies were taken from the darkness of the crypt and put on display, stood up against walls or laid in glass cases for all to see. There's the mummy of a pregnant woman, and next to her, the mummified fetus that was found with her, the world's smallest mummy. There are children, dressed in the clothes they were buried in, their small faces twisted in the same silent agony as the adults. Visiting the museum is an experience that stays with you. The air is still and heavy. The flickering lights can play tricks on your eyes. Every creak of the floorboards, every sudden sound, feels amplified. You walk through halls lined with the dead, their screaming faces following you from behind the glass. They are a silent audience, and you are the spectacle. You can't help but feel like a voyeur, intruding on a private, eternal moment of horror. The line between historical artifact and human remains becomes disturbingly blurred. The story of the Guanajuato mummies is a collision of science, folklore, and tragedy. On one hand, we have the geological and biological facts, a unique environment that preserves the dead in a remarkable way. The screams are simply dehydration. The contortions are just contracting muscles. It is a natural phenomenon, stark and simple. But on the other hand, the legends persist. They speak to our deepest fears, of being buried alive, of being forgotten, of death itself. The mummies serve as a physical embodiment of these anxieties. They force us to confront our own mortality in the most visceral way possible. And then there is the ethical question. These were once people. They had names, families, lives. Is it right to display their remains this way, born from their families' inability to pay a tax? Are they a scientific marvel, a historical lesson, or a gallery of desecrated graves? Perhaps the truth is somewhere in between. The mummies of Guanajuato are both a scientific wonder and a haunting human tragedy. Their silent screams echo through the centuries, a permanent reminder of a dark time in the city's past and a testament to the enduring power of a good horror story. They remain locked behind glass, forever caught between life and death, their secrets buried deeper than any grave. What really happened in those coffins, we may never truly know. And perhaps that's the most chilling part of all. Thanks for joining us on this journey into the mystery of the Guanajuato mummies. If you found this story as fascinating as we did, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into the world's greatest unsolved mysteries. See you next time.